Today, I'm going to show you how we made our 1.5 kilo fighting robot, Bad Daddy. If you stick around to the end, I'll show you how it performed. Hello, long time no see. I know it's been a while since the last video, so thanks for sticking with me. This is our bar spinner robot, made for robot fighting. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of robot fighting, we basically put weapons on radio controlled cars and have a competition where the goal is to beat the other guy into submission. You win when the other robot's unable to fight you anymore. It's like cage fighting, but without the CTE. Or the discipline of maintaining a six-pack. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that robot already looks finished, mate. Charge the batteries and send it in. We're now on our third or fourth major rebuild of Bad Daddy. Bad Daddy was first built for the BBB Champs in September 2023. When designing it, I took a lot of inspiration from Calvin's American NHRL champion, Lynx, mainly because it just looked really fun to drive. It was definitely a good starting point. Calvin's won a bunch of competitions with it. We started off as a team of 3. We were all semi-retired from building competitive robots, choosing instead to plunge our lives into abject chaos and each start a family. Callum's a machinist who's built replicas of the Robot Wars house robots. Callum dropped out before the first event to work on his other hobbies. But he did machine our bar for us out of our quarry steel. They've built Robot Wars champion Carbide, China's King of Bots champion Tungsten, and BattleBot's most destructive Cobalt. Dave's arguably a contender for the most successful combat robot builder of all time. I previously entered Robot Wars, where I built a giant set of teeth. My robots always looked cool, but they never really did well at fighting. I was always really focused on making things that fit the idea of Robot Wars, the TV show I remember watching as a child. They were these mad and creative inventors, making these crazy machines with loads of personality. The sport has evolved a lot since then. These machines are now streamlined, purpose-built tools, professionally designed and built to fulfill the one specific task: fucking up other robots. I'd gone meta now, but I still wanted to give it some personality and theming. I did make this cool team t-shirt, but we've recently decided to retire it. It started as a photo from the movie The National Lampoon's Family Vacation. It's speculated the National Lampoon's satire of the station wagon contributed to the decline of the vehicle type in the United States. Sales plummeted across all manufacturers following the film's release in 1983. Being a little bit rusty, having not built a robot in a few years, and having never really built a beetle weight at all, we got battered. We couldn't drive very well upside down, which eventually led to us losing. We managed to just about cling on to top 8 in the competition, but we really did take a kick in on the way. For our next version, it was a major rebuild to bring the mass towards the rear wheels so we can drive upside down. This rebuild is the latest round of improvements for Bad Daddy. The major change is some new titanium weapon mount plates. These are much stronger than our old ones, but a little heavier. To make weight for them, I removed some dead weight from weapon setup, like removing this spacer. This changes the shape of the robot slightly, making everything a little bit smaller and lighter. But the knock-on effect is pretty much everything's scrap now. and needs to be remade. Here I cut down the weapon shaft to length. It's hardened steel, so it needs to be cut with carbide. I test fit one side of the new weapon plates. Mwah! The other side needs a little spigot turning up for the weapon motor bearing to sit on. I'm making it from titanium, so I thought I could cut it with HSS, but it just smushed up like wet banana bread. So I took a break to buy a ceramic dolphin and tried again with a carbide cutter. I then burned a hole through it with a twist drill. And parted it to length. After welding this to the side plate, I could start to put the weapon assembly back together. I treated myself to a new pulley for the weapon, as the old one was fucked. Popped in the new shorter shaft. And bolted this into the new side plate with a new belt. The grate lives behind the spinning weapon, so it's fairly well protected. It gets covered in a mesh to allow some airflow and keep some of the filth out. I tried a new material for the printed part of the grate called polypropylene. It's very strong apparently. See? The main chassis of the robot gets these embedded magnets to suck us down onto the arena floor. I achieved this by stopping the print halfway through and supergluing them to my fingers. I also stick in these captive aluminium nuts to hold the side armour. I set a heat cert into a printed boss and glue it into the chassis to hold the link door. We still use removable links in the UK over switches, because event organisers love to watch me try and jam my chubby little fingers into a tiny robot and fish out a connector. I give the wire harness a quick once over before it all goes back into the robot. I snap the drive motors into the chassis before securing them on the front face. And a retaining clamp on the top to be safe. The weapon assembly gets married to the main chassis with 4 bolts. And everything gets tied in with some plastic screws. The electronics get finger poked into the crevice. Nice and tight. I bolt some sneaky front wheels on with a shoulder bolt. And pin my hubs to the drive shaft. The wheels are linked via a belt, which I make here by melting the ends together. And just circumcise off the excess. Next, I make up a couple of wheels. The mould gets a generous finger of release agent. And I fuck up the surface of a foam wheel to act as a core. Add some brown pigment to some 2-part rubber and give it a stir. And pour. The wheel gets stretched over the hub. And a little dab of glue stops it coming off. I use a plotter to cut some wood vinyl panels and glue them to the printed TPU side armour in the presence of a baby. The letters get a colouring in with a Sharpie to make them pop. The lid gets panelled and closes the top of the robot to keep the jam out. Lastly, I screw on the sharpest flaps in the city. And we're done.
again. Congrats to Chucky. It moves on to the round of 16.
I took Bad Daddy and my new t-shirt to BBB's 2024 Champs to see how the upgrades have improved our chances since last year. Dave unfortunately couldn't make it, as he was busy with other commitments.
Where are you? No, buzzing. Where are you?
We got off to a shaky start, but with a good draw, we managed to battle it through to the round of 16. Where we meet Chucky. This little blue bastard is a very well-made lifter. He's no stranger to the final stages of these competitions because it's driven very, very well. After a bit of back and forth, this is how the fight ended. In situations like this, the rules state that the robot that hits the bottom of the pit first is deemed the loser. The judges were really struggling to decide who this was because of the camera angle. Both me and the driver of Chucky agreed we didn't want the fight decided on what was looking like it was going to be a coin toss. We both agreed the judges should decide a winner up to the pit finish.
A little bit gutted, but I think that was a good fight. I think it was very close.
It's definitely a tough one to call. Still made it to the round of 16 though with a great robot, so congratulations on that.
Now I know it was a close decision, so I don't feel like I was robbed, but I think I won that fight. Well, no hard feelings to the judges. It's a hard job. They're volunteers, and they're just trying their best. They judged the fight as they saw it. We have a difference of opinion. And I just need to grow up and move on. Seeking a second opinion, I asked experienced roboteer and builder of Lynx, Calvin Iber, what he thought of the fight. After watching it, he said this.
Yeah, it's hard when there's not like chunks of robot flying and the whole robot's still all together, still completely working. That's a tough decision. Tom, I never like letting it go to the judges, so you need to end it in a knockout next time. But yeah, you did pretty good.
Losing sucks. Competitions like this, to the victor, the glory. And the loser takes home the burden of failure. But failure is part of it. To get better, I need to face it and figure out what went wrong. I don't think the robot itself needed much changing. It's solid and capable. I needed to drive it a bit better. There's one more competition left before we end the year, just a month after Champs, called Battlescar. So we dusted ourselves off and went for one last dance. It should also be noted that this competition is on wooden floors, so I stuck my fingers together installing these magnets for nothing. We had a strong start to the day, winning our first matches by knockout. We then ran into Frenzy, the winner of Champs a few weeks ago. We made it to the semi-finals. Before we knew it, we'd made it all the way to the grand finals. But another robot had also been climbing the ranks all day to join us.
The grand final. Give it up for Bad Daddy.
Once the robots are armed and the doors are closed, before the countdown begins, there's an eerie silence. In this moment, I consciously remind myself, focus on what you're doing. Take a breath. Drive. Under the revealing lights of the arena, there's no shadows to hide in. We start equal and are separated in a few minutes of desperate fury. It's easy to tie success to only victory, but the process is deeper. Knowing you've done something that challenges not only your opponent, but yourself. There's something severely exposing about openly trying your hardest, disregarding the safety net of excuses, and facing the raw possibility of failure. Put yourself out there. Be vulnerable. Fail. Succeed. But fucking try. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the next video, I have the Bad Daddy Team t-shirts up for sale. We're going to do a limited run of a few weeks. It won't be available again after this. Or there's a link below to buy me a coffee. These videos take a lot of effort, money, and a hell of a long time to make. I'm going to need your support if I'm going to keep making them. I'm genuinely proud of what we've made, and I've had a lot of fun over the last year getting back into robots. See you again on the next Tom Code Design.